I want to discuss the dajal. Now, before the dajjal appears, the first sign would be the Mahdi. The Mahdi would appear. Now, when the Mahdi appears, there'll be rumors in his time that the dajjal has appeared. So basically, the dajjal would appear, he'll disappear again, he'll appear, he'll disappear again, and so on. It'll be very awkward. The Prophet says in a hadith which is narrated from Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Prophet said, the inhabitation of Baytul Maqdis, which is in Jerusalem at the moment, where Masjid al-Aqsa is, Baytul Maqdis, would be the destruction of Medina. And then further on he says, the destruction of Medina would be the beginning of the major catastrophe, which could be said as the world war. And then further on he says that the beginning of the major catastrophe would mean the beginning of the conquest of Constantinople, which is modern day Istanbul. And the conquest of Istanbul would mean that straight after this, the Dajjal would emerge. Now, this is in hadith, so it's definitely going to happen, it hasn't happened yet. Now, whether it's going to happen in this chronological order or not, we don't know. But this order will take place. Then it comes in another narration that first of all Mahdi would appear, then Dajjal, then Isa al-Islam would descend, and then the emergence of Yajuj Majuj, and then the emergence of the beast, and then the rising of the sun from the west. Hazrat Ibrahim ibn Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he mentions that I heard the Prophet ﷺ say that between the creation of Adam al-Islam, who was the first person, between the creation of Adam al-Islam until Qiyamah, there is no severe, no greater mischief, no greater fitna than the coming of the Dajjal. So the mischief that we see nowadays is nothing compared to when the Dajjal comes. And as I go more into the more in depth, we will actually understand what this mischief is. Allah Ta'ala also mentions the Dajjal in the Quran, but not indirectly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ خَلْقِ النَّاسِ, that the creation of the heavens and the earth is much more greater than the creation of the people, meaning the Dajjal. Now you might have a question, well, if the Dajjal is so great and the Dajjal is such a severe mischief, then why hasn't Allah Ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran? The answer to this is Allah Ta'ala did not think he's worth mentioning in the Quran. He's such an imposter, he's not worth mentioning in the Quran. Then we might have another question. Well, Fir'aun, he also claimed to be Allah Ta'ala himself, so he's mentioned in the Quran. Why is Dajjal not mentioned? The reason being is because when Dajjal comes, Allah Ta'ala will give him so many powers that people will think is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Fir'aun came, he didn't have any power. So basically, Fir'aun is not God was clear. And when Dajjal appears, whether he is God or not, whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not, it will be a misconception, it'll be a deception. It'll be very hard to figure out. That's why Allah Ta'ala did not mention the Dajjal in the Quran. Now, Allah Ta'ala, Prophet ﷺ did not only mention in this ummah, it comes in a hadith that every single prophet actually warned his nation about the Dajjal. And it also comes that Nuh al-Islam also warned the nation about Dajjal. But the depth and the detail that the Prophet ﷺ gave to the people, no other prophet has gave this description. Now, it also comes in the hadith that when three things happen, then a person bringing iman, a person's coming into Islam will not be of any benefit. They mention that when the Dajjal comes, when the beast emerges, and when the sun rises from the west. Now we understand that when the sun rises from the west, it's clear in the hadith that the doors of Tawbah will be closed. That's why when a person, after the doors of Tawbah are closed, the person says, I want to become Muslim now. Is it possible? It's not possible because it's not going to work. So we understand that. So what does this mean? That when the beast emerges and when the Dajjal emerges, it means that when the Dajjal emerges, when the beast emerges, the fitna and the mischief will be so great, it'll be very difficult for a person to come into Islam, because he'll think that the Dajjal is God. So he will not want to become Muslim. He'll either bring Iman on the Dajjal or he'll remain a Muslim. Now, we're going to go into more detail. We're going to talk about his name, where he was born, his features, his mom and dad, his father, mother, etc. Now, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a person called Ibn Sayyad. Ibn Sayyad was a very awkward person, and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in actually thought that he's the Dajjal. But he, according to an authentic narration, he was not the Dajjal. His name was Ibn Sayyad. And some people say that he was a devil who's been tied up in some kind of island. And some people say no. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a fortune teller. That fortune teller's name was Sheikh, and that Sheikh is known to be the Dajjal. And later on, what happened was Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, when he saw the mischief in the world, he actually imprisoned that Sheikh himself. And people say that he's the Dajjal. Now, what does the word Dajjal mean? Because his name is not going to be the Dajjal. The Dajjal is a kind of attribute, a characteristic about himself. The word Dajjal in Arabic means to deceive. Because the Dajjal will be such a big deceiver, his name will be Dajjal. And the word Dajjal doesn't, it means a liar. That's why it comes in a hadith that when Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he proposed to Hazrat Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha for marriage. Even though later on she was married to Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Prophet says at the end, وَمَا وَلَسْتُ بِدَجَّالٍ, that I am not a liar. So basically he was trying to say that marriage will be given to Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. I've already made a promise, I cannot break the promise. Now, we also hear, like in English, it said that the Messiah, the Dajjal, what does that mean? Now, in Arabic, the word Masih, it means flat, or it means wiped out. The reason being is because the Dajjal will have a face where he'll have one eye, and one eye will be basically wiped out. That's what it means. He'll have one eye, and the one eye will be wiped out. According to another narration, some people say that he's known as the Masih. Instead of Masih, it's Masih. But the true narration is he's known as the Messiah. Now, once the Prophet ﷺ saw a dream, and he saw two people making tawaf around the Kaaba. And one of them was Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, and the second person, whether he was making tawaf or not, he was the Dajjal. But they were both named as the Messiah. Now the difference is that Dajjal is the Messiah of mischief, and Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will be the Messiah of guidance. Now, because Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, he used to actually walk around the world. When he was traveling, he used to walk more. So that's why he was named as the Messiah. Now let's go on to Dajjal's features. What will he look like? What kind of person will he be? According to his features, it is said that he will be a young man. He'll be very healthy and young man. And according to another narration, he'll be a young man who will have a red body, red in complexion. And he'll be a white person. Like we see white people, sometimes we see a white person and we see the more white that person is, he has or she has a kind of white complexion on their face. A red complexion on their face. The Dajjal will be that similar kind of person. According to another narration, Zid Abdullah ibn Mughaffal, he narrates that he will be, he'll have a wheatish color. And according to another narration, he'll have curly hair, and one eye will be blind. One eye will be blind. And it says, كَأَنَّهَا عِنَبَةٌ طَافِيَةٌ, it'll be as if a protruding grape. We've all seen a grape. If I were to close my eye and I put that grape onto my eye, can you see the grape protruding from the eye? That's how the Dajjal's eye will be. So he'll have one blind eye, the other eye will be like a protruding grape. And according to another narration, it is said that both the Dajjal's eyes will be blind. But the authentic narration is that both Dajjal's eyes will have some kind of defect. One eye will be blind and the other eye will have a defect. He'll be able to see from one eye, but he'll have a defect. It will be a very clear eye. And to such an extent, it comes in the hadith that if mucus is put onto a lime painted wall, that's how Dajjal's eye will actually look like. And his feet will have a type of crookedness. So like we stand when we stand up, we stand straight. He will not be able to stand straight. Between his 2 feet there will be some kind of crookedness. And his hair, when I said his hair will be curly, it will seem like the branches of a tree. His hair will be straight, it will be like the branches of a tree. And between his 2 eyes it will be written Kaf Fe Re, meaning kafir. It will be very clear. To such an extent that comes in a hadith that any person who has even an atom worth of iman in his heart, he will be able to read that Dajjal is a kafir. But if a person does not have iman, they will not be able to read the word kafir. He will have that on his head. The only Muslims will be able to read it. Kuffar will not be able to read it. Any disbeliever will not be able to read it. It also comes in a hadith that when Dajjal does appear, he will not have any children. La yuladu lahu. And he will not be able to enter Medina, he will not be able to enter Makkah. At that time there will be angels on the doors of Makkah and Medina with swords, protecting Makkah and Medina to make sure the Dajjal does not enter. And with him, he will have 70,000 Jews. 70,000 Jews will follow him, and it comes in a hadith that it will seem like those Jews, their faces will have been hammered with a hammer. It will be so flat faces. And these Jews will be from Asfahan. Asfahan is a place, it's a city in Iran at the moment. It's still present. And those Jews will be wearing a shawl. And it comes in another narration, they'll be wearing shawls and they'll all have a sword in their hand. They will have some kind of garment. Now, like I said, the kuffar will not be able to read it. Now we might think that Alhamdulillah, if I've got iman, I will be able to know that this person is a Dajjal. We cannot think like this. The reason being because it comes in a hadith that first of all, the Dajjal will claim to be a saint of Allah Ta'ala. He'll claim to be a God-fearing person. He'll come to the masjid, he'll praise namaz, he'll read hajj, etc. It's to such an extent that people will think that he's a wali of Allah Ta'ala and people will start following him. And then when he claims to be a prophet, then those persons who have intelligence will understand that this person is an imposter, so they leave him. So basically